For those who fought in the Battle of Britain, it was a battle for survival. For the free world, it was a breathless moment in history. For failure would have plunged mankind into a new dark age. Never have so many owed so much to so few.
So welcome to issue 16, frame and panels for the starboard side of the cockpit, and let's start with the parts list. So part 1 is the cockpit framework starboard side, as is piece number 2. Part 3 is the framework connector. Parts 4 and 5 are cockpit wall panels. Part 6 is cockpit panels and details. That's a sprue containing 4 pieces. And part 7 is another sprue containing 4 pieces, cockpit panels and details. And we finish it off with 5 km 1.6 by 3 millimeter screws. So let's have a look at stage 1. So we need piece number 1. Now there's 2 pieces of framework, and we want this curved one, and we want it at this angle, which is the orientation they have in the magazine. We also need the cockpit connector, and this is nothing we haven't done before. So we will be getting the screws, which are conveniently at the bottom of the pile. So let's just cut the bag open, and we'll just push out 2 screws, because that's all we need for this build, this stage. There we go. Put those back in so they can't get lost, and I will load up, this is remembering it from last time, we load up our screwdriver ready. So with this curved piece this way around, cockpit connector, and if we want to check the previous part, we can see that the dots, the holes on the cockpit connector will be on the inside, so that's going to be this side, and you can see there we've got some holes, and we just want to pop in the first screw, get that lined up. Don't worry about lining the second hole up just yet, so we're not going to put this screw in all of the way. We're just going to put it in enough to hold. Then we get our second screw, and we will line, now we line the hole up, and then we pop the screw in. We can go, now this isn't quite a good fit. Right, so I have actually done this upside down, so my apologies guys. When you, I'm so guilty of not reading the instructions. So there's a little notch on there which I forgot about. That notch needs to be facing the notch there. It doesn't go into the notch, it goes over the notch. And I have just discovered, as you've seen, the spacing on each side of this connector isn't the same, it's slightly different, which is really good news, because if, like me, you've just put that piece on wrong, it will tell you that it's wrong, which is another example of some clever work by whoever designed this part work. So that first screw is on, and we have it the correct way round this time. So let's have a look at stage 2. Fit part 16.2 so that it aligns with the edge of part 16.1. Note that the shaped tab on part 16.2 fits into the notch in part 16.1. Fix part 16.2 to the connector 16.3 using 2 km screws, 1.6 by 3 millimeter. The diagram below shows the connector from the inside. So we need 2 more screws. which we have here, and there we go. And I will line up my screwdriver with a screw already in it using the magnetized part. So we've got two holes there on the cockpit frame. We have a little cutout bit there, and we have a tab there that will fit into there like so. Now that I'm going to connect it in the middle. The reason I'm going to use that one is it looks like it's just ever so slightly out, and this one could be the biggest problem. So we always do the one that we think is going to be the hardest first, and that is causing a problem. So I think what's happened is that there's either a bit of paint block in there, or the hole hasn't quite been cut hard enough, big enough, so it's just making the screw difficult. So that's fine. This one's going in lovely, so this one I'll put in all the way, and this one is working its way in properly. That's fine. So I'll just adjust these first screws, because I've got one that doesn't look like it went in properly. So these are countersunk screws, so what's going to happen is you shouldn't feel the screws when you've finished. So that's that part done then. So let's have a look at stage 3 and 4 and 5, because they're all very similar. So stage 3 is to take part 1604 and check how it fits into the opening in the framework 16.1 as indicated. Apply a little super glue around the rim of the part 16.4 and fix in place. Stage 4 is exactly the same, but we're using part A from the sprue, and part 5 is exactly the same but using using part B. So this is part 16.4, and that's identifiable. There's a couple of notches on there. This one's harder to see in the magazine, but we've got this silver square, and that's going to go into there. Okay, and the way I'm going to fix this is I'm going to use my gel glue, because it's a little bit stronger and works better with metal. So we just squeeze a little bit into, I use waste plastic. This is all the packaging from the issues, and we just get a little bit with a cocktail stick, because it's going to be sitting in its own recess. What we do is we get a little bit of glue into the middle, and then we just pull it along, and then we pull the rest of it back down, and we do that on all 4 sides, and that way you will find we will apply a minimal amount of glue. And hopefully none of it will show once we've glued the piece in. So I'll just put a bit more. I don't think we got any on that one. So there we go. And then we'll pop the piece in there as we did with the dry fit. And then we'll push down 3, 4, 5. We'll just give that. No, I don't like that. Do not like that. Doesn't look like it went in well enough for me. There we go. So I wanted the back to be flush with the frame. So 3, 4, 5. There is a chance that hasn't stuck. No, that has stuck. That's really good. So stage 4 is to do the same with piece A. Now piece A is this, not this piece. So let's have a look at the shape. So we've got a sloped bit. This bit's got a sloped bit, so I'm going to take a gamble. Obviously you can correspond these with the parts list, so that will tell you exactly. But remember, we're always dry fitting, so every part should fit exactly right, which that one does. So glue on the recess and just pull it along onto the next recess, pull it along and then push it back and into this bit. And by applying a minimal amount, and we're applying it into the correct places, by correct I mean the little recesses, there shouldn't be any glue showing once the model's finished. So there, no glue whatsoever showing. Oops, and I've just pushed so hard, I've actually pushed this piece out. So this is another example. I mentioned it quite a few times. The glue will dry fairly quickly, but it won't fully cure for a long time. So ideally when you finish this, you need to be gentle until you've finished, and then just pop the piece on a shelf or something, leave it overnight. Screws are instant attachments. Screws are instant attachment, whereas glue, you do need to let it set a bit longer. So there we go, we'll pop that back in. So there we go, that's in okay. So stage 5 is now a square panel that we're looking for, and I think that one's too big, so I think it's going to be this one. That looks about the right size. So with my side cutters, and if you don't have side cutters you can use a craft knife, but I personally think it's really worth investing in a good set of side cutters. So I'm looking for an orientation, but I can't seem to find one, but that's a bit of an uncomfortable fit. So I can see that one corner seems to be, has a slight notch. You see the bottom right, but I can't seem to see anything there. That's a better fit, but I can't seem to see why. So I'm just not going to worry about it. There isn't a notch in the corner, but there is only one way you can place this on. So we're going to drag the glue along in the middle and then push it one end, pull it the other side, and then along the top and the bottom. And if you have any excess, which I have a little bit there, I think there was a bit too much on there, just pull the excess up with your cocktail stick and then apply it somewhere where there isn't as much glue. So remembering that that notch goes bottom right, place that into there like so, and voila, that's in. So that is stages 3, 4 and 5. Wonderful, that's in. So let's have a look at 6. 6 is exactly the same as the previous stages, as is 7, 8, 9 and 10. In fact, the rest of the build is exactly the same. So I'm just going to go straight through. I'm just describing the different parts each time. So now we're looking for a larger panel. This is piece F, and I'm confident this is the correct piece, but we will always do a test fit before we begin. And again, I can see a notched piece, and I can see that it's going to go bottom left, so that goes into there like so, and there is actually a shape in that corner there. So running out of glue on my little glue bit, so I'm just going to pop a bit more in. Probably put way too much for the build there, but that's fine, we can live with that. Excuse me. So dragging the glue along, dollop in the middle, and then push and pull it so it covers the whole line. Same with the top, dollop in the middle, then drag it along and then push it back, and then dollop. Okay, there's a bit too much on there, so we'll actually go onto this piece. We'll then clear any excess on this piece and then go back onto the other side, and noting we remember that the notch is there, that can go into there. So I've got to be honest with you, where the way I'd seen the glue I thought there'd be a little bit of excess, but as you see where I've placed the glue there is actually a little bit showing there. Not much to worry about, but that's fine. So again, if you're worried about any glue showing, you could just go over that with paint, but you will need to find an exact colour match. Right, so the next piece we need is piece D, and this is easily identifiable because it's a square with a circle, half a circle taken out of it, with a hole in it, and that's going to go there, so it's going to go round that screw hole, so into there it goes, and that's actually fitted in so well we could probably get away with no glue. That's a really good fit. So into the middle, drag the glue along. I think I'm only going to go 3 sides on this one, so into the middle, drag it along, into the middle, drag it along, and any excess can just be dabbed and wiped off. So into the hole, press down, few seconds, 3, 4, 5, check it, that's fine. So the next stage we're looking for a long panel. It's actually a piece, so it's piece 16.5, and it has this black, some kind of warning label on it perhaps. Unfortunately the writing is too small to see, and that's going to go, you see you've got 2 holes there, it's going to go in the upper one, and that will go in like so. Now this isn't a brilliant fit, so it will go in if you press it, but you need to just push it down on one side. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to apply glue just along there. I'm not going to apply any glue in there. That will give us a little bit easier working time. We'll stick this side down, but then that will give us the opportunity to push it on the right hand side as we're looking at it. So too much glue on there, so we'll just carry on with a little bit down there, and then we can just wipe the excess up. I didn't want to go that far with the glue, but we've got it now. So we place the piece into there, and then once the left hand side's in, we can now push the right hand side in, and that's gone in fine. So test fitting in this case has identified a potential problem. I'm not totally happy with that. It's not really flush with the back, but the front is okay. So just push a little bit with the glue, and that stayed in, but I don't think this side is going to be seen. It's like this piece there is going to be on that side where there's not needed, and all the details on this side. So stage 9, we have 2 stages left to go, and we have 4 pieces left, which is interesting, but it does say that there are parts that are going to be used in future issues. I'm not a big fan of leaving little pieces on a sprue behind, but you know, if that's how we have to do it, that's how we have to do it. So this is piece E, and the test fit says that that's going to go in pretty much the same as the last piece, Right, and also my framework is just coming loose a little bit, so I'm just going to just tighten that up again. There we go. It's taken about a quarter of a turn, so it was because my screws were loose. Story of my life. So that's now solid. So let's get back on with this. So that's gone in fine. So remove that piece, apply some glue, just a little bit along the edges. So what we're aiming to do really is, we probably waste more than we use because we are applying it to a waste bit of plastic, but we have got a more precise amount of glue. But we're probably going to be using less than one drop of glue throughout this whole stage, and we'll probably waste about a couple of drops, but that's fine. So it just shows how little we use. One tiny drop should do the whole stage with some left over. So last piece to go. So that's okay. Do you know what? The two leftover pieces will be on the same sprue, so that's fine. I can live with that. So when you have a big sprue with one piece on it, and then you have another sprue with one piece on it. So this is going here, and it's got a little notch in this corner. It's got other notches, but it's just as easy to work with this one, and that goes around there. So that's going to go into there like that. So let's apply the glue, and I'm going to apply the glue on 4 sides this time because it's fitting, but it's not a really solidly tight fit. So there's a little drop of glue on there. I didn't want to squish it in, so I just put one drop in, then got rid of some more glue from the cocktail stick, and then went back to that drop. There we go. So aligning the notch up, which is this way round, that goes into there like, whoa, be careful. And that's another reason why we apply glue just where we need it. I actually dropped the piece on there. Had we applied loads of glue, I would have got glue all over the back. It doesn't matter if we had, but isn't it nice when your parts that you can't see, or won't see in the final build, are looking just as neat and professional as the parts you can see. So that is the completed work for this week. It says, let me just hold it there, it says the framework the framework for the starboard side of the cockpit has been assembled and panels have been fitted. The 2 remaining parts, G and H, on frame 16.7 will be fitted in a future issue. So can we guess that will be next week, perhaps? So these sprues are finished, so I am going to throw those away so that we don't get confused. So yes guys, that is the end of that issue, and I hope you will join me for issue 17.